Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode. Long awaited.
long awaited.
And it's not even a Godzilla movie. Long awaited episode of the Godzilla podcast.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to our movie Gorath, but I've had quite a few tweets, one of which that came from, I suppose it was a Patreon backer. He tweets around Godzilla stuff and to us quite a bit. But he said, can't wait till you get to Godzilla movies again. And I was like, yeah.
Me neither. This was a bad idea. No.
A good bad one, because, Joe...
Almost all the rest after this run are Godzilla. There's very few not Godzilla.
It feels bad a little bit for us due to the fact that we haven't had a Godzilla film for a while, but, because I like to change things up, if we were just doing Godzilla films and then we had these in between, minus our long pauses, I would enjoy it more. But right now I am in the mood for Godzilla. Unfortunately, we have at least one more after this, correct? Dogora, I know of.
Oh, I'm pretty sure we got like 3 more after this.
Oh, really? All right. Well, I'm looking. I'm
not that sure.
I'm looking at the list. I see Dogora, The War of the Gargantuans, and Latitude Zero, and Space Amoeba.
That's 4.
4. So yes, I was off by quite a few.
It's okay, Drew. I have worked out a transfer. I feel like such a loser when I have to talk about this stuff. I have worked out a transportation deal.
Yeah, woo. You ain't a loser.
I got Trump himself. He worked out a deal. Okay, he's real good with deals. Huge. He talked to my parents about using a vehicle to get down here, and I'm going to be able to borrow it for at least a few months to do these episodes. So hopefully we can do these regularly, as long as your schedule stays open on these 2 nights that I can do it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Wait, 2 nights, Saturday, Sunday?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those are the only days I could do this.
Oh, we got this. We got this. Therefore, these shall become regular. Yet again.
Yes.
We actually, it's been 3 weeks, Joe, since we've watched Gorath. Just a little behind the scenes here. We watched Gorath, meant to do it 2 weeks ago. I had a family matter come up, and granted, we have 1 night a week in which we can do this. So that put it off a week. And then the next week, Joe had his, you want to say it, second migraine?
I had my second migraine in my life that day. And it was captured on podcast. I was in the middle of doing Nude Clan.
Okay, Nude Clan.
And we were reviewing Metal Gear Solid.
Okay.
And I went,
the first?
Guys, I can't do this. And then I walked away from the microphone midway through the episode. They had to finish off the episode, and they didn't. We had to re-review Metal Gear Solid this week.
Well, I'm glad we have a fully recovered Joe with us this week.
That was 4 hours of hell. Some people, it lasts for like days.
Yeah. Fortunately, I've never
both these times
like
they
that.
lasted about 4 hours for me.
Oh gosh.
And they were years apart, and hopefully it will be years before I have another one.
And hopefully you will just never have another one, right?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Right. That's the case. But I do not like migraines. Do not enjoy them whatsoever. I do not recommend them.
Oh, yeah. Would you ever?
Speaking of not recommending something, let's watch some Gorath.
I would for our listeners. That's about it. Okay. Joe, just before we start it, Gorath, Mysterians. Which
Japanese
one do you
version.
hold in higher esteem?
Mysterians.
Really?
Oh,
I'm the other way around, dude. And we'll have
we'll talk about it on this thing that has very little information about the making of.
Very little, since it's been less widely distributed than even the Mysterians. Certainly, I had not heard anything about this film prior to our viewing it. Okay, before I push play, we are watching, of course, Sumo Gorilla has pulled through, because there
thing we're not supposed to talk about. It's like Fight Club, but we're just like, screw it, Fight Club exists.
Yeah, it exists, and we are actually 2 people. It's not just Joe talking to himself here, like Fight Club style. But to tie that in, so Gorath, Japanese title, Rogue Star Gorath, or Calamity Star Gorath, depending on, I guess, your translation, makes a lot more sense, as always, than our American title, Gorath. The reason for really not this movie not being well known, it's never had a Region 1 Blu-ray or DVD release.
Okay.
It was widely shown on television, or as widely shown as these obscure Japanese science fiction films would be in the 60s and 70s throughout television. But yeah, this movie came from 1962, and here we are, the Japanese version of the film, because for us, at least for this podcast in particular, we have no reason to watch the American version.
None.
There is no giant monsters in the American version, Gorath.
All right.
So here we are.
That's half our information for our commentary.
And we've got discussion for the rest for your listening pleasure.
Do the countdown.
3, 2, 1.
Someone just was like, oh my gosh, I gotta press play.
I know. So they're, attentive and alert.
Toho scope, a widescreen
color,
film.
widescreen.
Yeah,
this movie has been nestled right in between on our list here. Same year, it came out the same year as King Kong versus Godzilla. Not quite sure which one came out first. I just see a 1962 on both of those, but it came out immediately following Gorath in 1963 was Atragon, and Mothra was 1961. So
we accidentally did this out of order. That's right.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, you listen to them in order. Listen to however you want. Nobody's getting this obscure
Drew,
anyway.
You, of course, I had never heard of this movie before. I looked up the Toho Kaiju monster movie list.
That's what I got on my pulled up on my phone right now. It's on TohoKingdom.com. If you haven't followed them on Twitter, they tweet a lot of cool giant monster stuff. So that's Toho Kingdom.
Yeah, they say if Toho distributed it, and they say if they produced it,
and if there's a giant monster.
And yeah, that's right. And so that's kind of our master list that we're working off of.
I only noticed because I really looked at the master list, Joe. At the end, there are some things we will never view on this podcast.
Oh yeah,
they include Attack on Titan, the live action movie. I saw that in theaters, part 1. Terrible. It was terrible.
Terrible.
My friends, I convinced all my friends to watch Attack on Titan, the anime.
Yeah.
Oh, they loved it. I loved it when I first watched it. Still love it. But one of that group of friends was like, oh my gosh, there's going to be like a one-night showing of the live-action version of the film. We got to go see it in theaters, blah, blah, blah. We all go see it. We all left. We didn't really speak to each other for a minute, leaving the theater. And then we're like, that was really bad, wasn't it? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was really bad.
Well, did they produce it, or is it just distributed?
I'm pretty sure it's just distributed by Toho.
Well, it depends. It really depends.
Not many live-action anime adaptations
So this movie starts off awesome.
Yeah.
2 women taking their clothes off.
Prior to that, the credits showed off space and some satellites with kanji
pretty
overlaid.
Much everything any boy would want.
Yeah, women driving through a tunnel directly at the camera.
That's an important.
Yeah, there's some symbolism there, of course. Then
gross.
You just talked about how amazing this movie starts off with women taking their tops off.
There's nothing wrong with that, but
the weirdness comes very quickly
back on.
Yes, that was strange that their clothes are back on off camera apparently, although we're following them this entire time. So Joe, they are both the girlfriend of an astronaut and the daughter of an astronaut are these 2 women. These 2 women were merrily driving down the road, just them, just the 2 ladies, and they're while taking their clothes off to go swimming, are interrupted by a rocket shooting off into space, which they are surprised by, and suddenly remember, oh yeah, my dad's going off into space today.
Oh yeah.
And you know what? I don't think she even says her boyfriend is going off into space. We find that out later in the film.
Okay.
So
immediately
2 women, one has the boyfriend going off into space, one has her father going off.
When I got that line saying, I forgot my dad was going off into space today.
It's like,
what? My jaw dropped to the floor and whoa. How did this happen?
Yeah, how did that writing occur that yes, this is a believable character.
She didn't even say goodbye then, if it's that vague.
She obviously didn't care for her father.
No.
If she cared for him enough to know that he's blasting off into space that day, but she didn't care enough to remember.
If my dad was blasting off into space, the day before he has to check in to NASA or whatever, I'd be like, okay, goodbye, hugs, whatever.
Yeah.
And then we'd probably watch the rocket go off and hope that's safe trip up there.
Sure.
She's just like, oh, it's time to go skinny dipping with my friend.
Oh, wait. Today was that day?
Oh, what?
Luckily, we saw the rocket
I put it on my calendar 6 months ago. Someone should have told me.
All right. 1962, the film's released. This takes place. The story in the film takes place in the not-so-distant future of 1976. I guess the events throughout the film occur over a course of 6 years because it ends in 1982. But, Joe, as with many...
Submarine.
Yeah, well, it's a type of movie, a sub film. Joe was making fun of me while we were watching it. There's a lot of plot points that make things specifically a submarine film. We can maybe talk about that because it's not that interesting. Anyway, as with many of these obscure science fiction films that we are watching, these Japanese, just wonderful, wonderful films, I did not glean that much from my viewing. So in reading plot synopses, I'm suddenly like, oh, that's what that was? Oh, that shed light onto this thing I didn't quite understand.
I did not read a plot synopsis.
Apparently, Joe, this ship, the JX-1 Hawk, is a like super futuristic ship that's being sent off to Saturn. I can't remember what they're going to study, but their trajectory is Saturn. Along the way, they measure something, a readout that there is the best explanation for Gorath, which is a giant celestial body flying through space. It sounds like
a giant monster name if you're going through giant monster movies.
Exactly. And Gorath is a wonderful name for a giant monster, is it not?
It's the name of my band now, by the way.
Why would you not name
Gorath? Gorath.
We are Gorath. We are a giant monster doom metal band. A wonderful name wasted on of star that has nothing that it doesn't do anything in the film other than be on its trajectory towards Earth. But yeah, on the way through space, the JX-1 Hawk and its crew, the intrepid crew here, and they're attached to. Okay, what are their suits? They have a line, like a cord coming from their helmets, and we never see what they're attached to, but like every single one of them, yeah, they have earpieces mounted into their helmets. So part of their suit, anyway, they find out.
Are you saying it's one of these movies that has weird suits? We did see the ladybug suits in a movie before this.
The Mysterians. Okay,
I'm just saying.
I'm gonna come right out.
This is a pretty normal suit.
As scatterbrained as this discussion has been so far, that would be the reason why I hold Gorath in higher esteem than the Mysterians. There's no threat in the Mysterians. I felt it has a extremely interesting like plot point there with our women. They want our women. I mean, we went on and on about that. But like the bad guys are not a threat. Not at all. They don't seem threatening. Many things that happened in the Mysterians, an underground base, the invaders being of a certain like variety of invaders making demands, being threatening without being like physically threatening, show up in other of these Toho films, but they're just done better. Yeah, but that was as with Meguma in this film, man. It just shows up. It was just thrown into the script. So
so they're going to Saturn.
Yes,
and they find Gorath on accident.
On the way. Yeah, they sense it like
Gorath being a giant red ball of death that I thought was going to be an alien ship or was sent by aliens or something.
That was our guess.
Hey, guess what, guys? And I know you haven't watched this. There's probably going to be like two of you that ever actually pick up this movie.
Heard of it.
Here's the thing: no aliens.
No aliens.
It's just a gigantic asteroid floating through space. Well, I guess it's a star.
Yes, that's the thing, Joe. I'm going to refer to it as a celestial body because, my goodness, they think it's a planet. They think it's like a runaway planet, which there's a big, but I don't know. Then they think it's the core of a collapsed star. Then they think it's an asteroid. They never like actually tell you what it is. It's a big space body. It's a big space body with gravity that's like, I think they say 6,000 times that of the Earth, and it's smaller than the Earth, but it's much more dense. Somehow they get that on their readings. So it's a really incredibly heavy, small piece, like a mass floating through space. The gravity is so strong that it is sucking everything around it and incorporating it into itself as it's flying through space towards Earth.
So a dark hole.
Yeah, except it actually has like...
it's not a dark hole.
Yes, it's a dark hole on the trajectory towards Earth that has actual mass to it. It's not some crazy physics anomaly that we know exists because of its gravity.
All right, so we got Gorath floating through space. Once again, an amazing name for a monster, terrible name for a rock.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a rock. Let's call it a rock.
And a fiery rock of death.
That sounds cool.
And we got the spaceship being pulled in. What do you think of the special effects in this one?
Better than most, honestly. I think, Joe, not so much special effects because there aren't a lot. Rather, the interior, like the designs of the sets, especially with this JX-1 Hawk, I really like the way it looks. Yeah. It's a wide enough set that they can like walk from one end of it to another. It is
a pretty big set.
Yeah, and it's definitely an interior of something. So, sub film, here you go. But instead of just being confined to a room, and granted, I'm giving it attention and detail in describing this, but if you watch the film, you're not really going to pay that much attention to this interior. It's just that, what do we have to go off with this film? We're describing the interior.
I remember
of the ship.
interior because I remember I was like, oh, that actually.
Well, it looks.
good.
It's not so overdressed. Like there aren't buttons everywhere and dials and lights everywhere. The lighting in it is really good.
Honestly, I could see this in an early Star Wars movie. I could see this
you
interior.
want to know who wrote the English dub for it? A Star Trek writer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Star Trek?
Yeah, Star Trek.
No, I'm just kidding.
No. But, man, there is some serious drama in the film. Or at least they try to make it into a very serious drama. I'm
sorry. The movie lost me immediately with I forgot my dad was going into space today.
And somehow the woman... second woman, one with a boyfriend going off into space. She doesn't reveal that now. We find out about halfway through the film that her boyfriend was also on this JX-1 Hawk. That would have been cool to know. I guess she just didn't. She gets angry enough in the middle of the film to be just enraged at another man for coming on to her. Yet she didn't care enough about, and she's mad at him because I'm still grieving for the boyfriend I lost on this space mission. But
there is
mention
another
him
plot
at all.
point that pisses me off later in the movie too.
Yeah, well, so
morally, that just makes me want to kill this movie. Okay, special effects I think are actually pretty good.
Yes,
for this era, and maybe not the monster later on, but the space stuff. I think looks pretty good. Not amazing. I think it's a little better than the space Godzilla thing, not space Godzilla.
I was gonna say we haven't done that one yet.
Astro Monster.
Yeah,
I think the space effects do look better than that movie.
For how much time they spend showing off people in space, it's done well in the film.
You know what? This opening
doesn't distract me at all.
This opening sequence reminds me of, because it becomes a suicide mission all of a sudden.
Yes. One that they did not know they had embarked on. Yeah.
This opening sequence reminds me of the cold open sequence, once again, for Star Trek.
Which Star Trek?
The new Star Trek, the J.J. Abrams.
Oh, yeah. No, you were saying that when we first watched it. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is kind of the extended version of the opening to the J.J. Abrams directed Star Trek film. Yeah, because suicide mission. Yep. Unfortunately, we don't have...
Or the character that we get to know just immediately dies right at the beginning of the movie.
Well, oh man.
In a big, heroic, self-sacrificing sequence.
It's emotionally charged, honestly, this whole sequence
Especially
of
since his
people...
daughter didn't know he was up there.
No. I'm saying the submission of the crew to their deaths.
Yeah. This part's good.
A lot more than the emotions I feel in many of these science fiction films. A lot of them, okay, great. It's a giant monster film. I'm having fun watching it, but it doesn't actually reach me to a point where I have an emotional response other than, yeah, giant monster. It's not like a sadness.
And you definitely didn't say that in the middle of this movie.
No, I did not.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different things. That cool cut.
Man, some cinematography here. So the cool cut went from the ship being absorbed into Gorath, and I'm pretty sure there was an explosion sound effect then. Cut to New Year's Eve is what it looks like, or sometime around. It might be, yeah, it's like Christmas, New Year's, around there. And there's party poppers and confetti blasting everywhere. So that's the explosions we hear on Earth.
Japanese Clark Kent in a robot costume.
Akira Kubo. We always refer to him as Japanese Clark Kent. The film that most likely
He's so
you will
chiseled.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He looks great in this film early on in his film career, from films we've seen at least. The listeners of this podcast will most certainly know him most well from Son of Godzilla, where he plays the reporter, I believe, that just he's the guy that lands on the island from the parachute and the scientists reluctantly take him in. That's where Joe first coined the term Japanese Clark Kent, and it has stuck ever since. And he plays a really interesting character in this film. I haven't... Kumi Mizuno and her co-star of this...
I forgot her name.
She's in... Joe, is she not in High and Low? Or is that another...
That's another
Okay,
girl.
it's another actress. But they're both really...
She's in one of the Godzilla movies.
They're such good actresses. That's why I mix them up. The main lead in High and Low, at Kurosawa film, and her. They're just really, really solid actresses that sell me on... on the woman that forgot that her father was being blasted off into space. If you can sell me on that for the rest of the movie, no, it doesn't sell me
at all.
Doesn't sell me on that point. That point is still ridiculous and stupid. But for the rest of the movie, I'm willing to forgive her.
Also like,
for
I
her
forgot it was my father's funeral today.
Acting chops. So much so, she definitely forgot it was his funeral because she's wearing this bright red dress where everyone else at his wake is obviously in black attire.
Yeah.
But yeah, she is smoking. She is gorgeous. And I don't say that often, honestly. Joe's more the one to usually,
I'm the horn dog.
Well, you're the single one. So.
Oh, thanks.
You got reason to be.
Appreciate that. Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's lay some personal laundry on the show. Okay, all right.
Kumi. Okay, if a woman like this can make me not look as much at Kumi Mizuno, whoo, she's doing her.
That's true.
She is attractive.
She's very attractive. She has like I remember like forever when we were trying to figure out who she looks like.
Yeah.
She looks a bit like Tilda Swinton.
Oh yeah, she's a Japanese Tilda Swinton. She's
now Japanese Tilda Swinton, which we got to just put Japanese blankety blank every time someone has to remind us of something familiar to us. But she does have like a
very
Swinton
small nose,
and like she's got a face that you're like, I'm not sure what the features are.
No, it's just a face that lends itself well to movies. Like it's a iconic face. Tilda Swinton certainly has. And I'm not that attracted to Tilda Swinton, yet somehow Japanese Tilda Swinton.
No, Japanese Tilda Swinton's pretty hot.
Oh, yeah. Anyway.
I'll find her name.
I want to talk for a moment about the JX1 Hawk, Joe.
Go ahead.
Because it's not as, like, shown off to us as, say, Atragon, the next Toho big science fiction film that had Manda in it. So again, going on with just throwing in a giant monster in your film that did not have one prior to, when you're writing the film, they just were forced to, probably by Tanaka and Atragon. Certainly in this film by Tanaka, the producer, they had to put in a monster, and Ishirō Honda reluctantly added in Meguma for a 6-minute sequence in the middle of the film. When the film's lulling is when they add in Meguma. But yeah, JX1 Hawk, I like that ship. We're not showing off as much the outside of it, but it just looks like a believably futuristic ship. It's not like something that I don't think would actually
crazy
fly.
And bulbous.
And its color is not like too bright, but it's not dull either. But then I think they hit their peak with like these just, we're supposed to fawn over and just be in awe of these giant these crafts, I suppose. With Atragon, that one sold me where I'm like, Atragon's pretty cool. Then you get Destroy All Monsters, and I cannot remember the name of the ship that they pilot in Destroy All Monsters. But man, that ship was dumb. And they tried to sell us on that one hard because everybody in the film kept mentioning the name of the ship, which is surprising to me that I don't remember the name of the ship since it was referred to so much in the film. But it seemed like Toho was trying to hard sell you on the ship flown in Destroy All Monsters. And Atragon, they just did it with such ease. They didn't have to sell Atragon, and it was built up throughout the film. The JX1 Hawk, which was destroyed there. And later on, we're going to see the JX2 Eagle, its successor, because they have to go back out to space and figure out what they're going to do with Gorath. Pretty much that's the whole plot of the film, right, Joe? You have to figure out what you're going to do with Gorath because it's entered our solar system, and it's on a collision course for Earth.
Yeah, this is a doomsday plot. Reminds me of every other doomsday plot with something colliding into Earth.
Yeah, it's an imminent threat.
Yeah.
We're all united against it.
But the way they overcome it is unique.
Ridiculous. You say unique, Joe. It's preposterous.
Unique.
It's insane. The way that they solved their problem in this film blew both of our minds because
of how stupid it was
how unbelievable that it actually was put in a movie.
Yes.
Joe, you said this was what the pitch had to be. Well, let's reveal what the main what a crux of this film is. Joe, what would the pitch be?
I don't remember what I said then.
Joe, what happened in the film? They moved the Earth like it's a big spacecraft with giant rocket thrusters.
Yes.
So somebody had to pitch that. Somebody had to pitch that to Toho.
I'm like, did I make up a pitch for that? Because I couldn't think of one.
So how are you selling this film?
Someone had to decide that we're going to put a bunch of what are those sparkler things on the bottom of the Earth?
Joe, they're rocket thrusters.
Rocket thrusters on the bottom of the Earth, which is Antarctica, always the bottom.
Well, they say South Pole in this film.
They refer to it over and over and over. South Pole, South Pole, South Pole.
And at the South Pole, they decide to, put a bunch of rocket thrusters going one direction.
Huge rocket
They
thrusters.
might as well just say, okay, everybody in Asia jump. Like, they might as well.
Joe,
it'll work just as well.
Joe, realistically, do you think that would have produced?
No.
I swear it's 6. They say this number over and over: 6,600,000,000 megatons of force. That's what these rocket thrusters are guiding Earth through space using. A little bit of lisp there. Lisp. But yes, it's hard to comprehend. It's hard to describe, but they're using Earth like a spaceship. They're blasting Earth through space as if it were a craft.
Just imagine fire coming out of Antarctica and space
and
going
huge,
up.
Like if you were an astronaut up in space, and you're looking out to the Earth, and there's a huge glow in the southern hemisphere of the Earth, and it's like, that's man-made. That's man-made, and we're flying through space on the Earth now. There's no way that would cause mass problems in the Earth's rotation, mass problems in how close or far we are from the sun, therefore our weather cycles. They just throwing the moon out of orbit with the Earth, probably getting closer on one, and perhaps crashing into the Earth. I don't know, but wow, the science in this film is so far out there. Another connection with Destroy All Monsters, Joe, would be the crew, the second crew, to be more specific, and of the film, Space Crew, that pilots the JX-2 Eagle. So much more enjoyable to go throughout this story with than the Destroy All Monsters crew. The Destroy All Monsters crew was a mass of men that had no discernible individuality between them. I don't care. I did not care about them. And then we have like a singing moment from the crew of this film. What in the heck are we watching that they stop the film? What's happened thus far? We described the flight through space, the death of those men,
That's right.
The introduction of this second space crew now because
they got to go up and somehow stop it.
The data, because the data was transmitted, although JX-1 Hawk was lost to Gorath, the data they collected about Gorath was sent back to Earth, and so we're using that to research in how to save ourselves from this inevitable doom if we don't do something.
These guys are in a joyride in a helicopter.
Yes.
And we're seeing a bunch of shots. In fact, if you look in the distance, all these aerial
it's MASH,
shots,
dude, it's MASH.
There's actually, if you can see, there's Legolas right there.
Where's Gimli?
And Gimli. Looks like they're looking for the two
Where's
hobbits.
Frodo? Samuel.
Anyway.
Or Samwise. Sorry.
Dumb joke.
Samuel.
Sorry, guys. All right. So, Yumi
That's a good one. It's a good one.
Shirakawa, that's her name. She was actually in Rodan.
Oh,
we've seen her before.
She looks different in Rodan. That was probably
that's a Rodan picture.
Yeah, her hair was different.
Her hair was different.
Made a difference. And also, Joe, everyone in this film is like...
Everyone's gorgeous.
The men, the women.
Except for that one kind of fat-faced dude.
Wait, which one?
He's like the second in command in the ship.
In the second space crew? Oh, he's the boyfriend of Kumi Mizuno.
Yeah, he's got a big fat face.
Yeah. And she's not gonna take the advances of our Japanese Clark Kent over that guy. Come on.
No offense to that guy.
Come on.
Sorry.
Well, he was in the first crew, so they were expendable to this film. They died and spurned on our second crew to greater vigor. I don't know. There's whatever.
All right.
Anyway, they're on the helicopter joyride. Our second crew, led by Akira Kubo, Japanese Clark Kent. They burst out in song. Yeah. They sing. There's like a good couple minutes of singing.
Okay, is that the third time
men.
we've had some bursting out into song, or the second time?
I think it is the third. There definitely was a second, but I can't remember when it was. In the films we've commentated on this.
Three Treasures, I remember.
Yes, so Three Treasures. The other one is my favorite, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla.
Mm-hmm.
Do not enjoy that one. And then this one. But that one...
I didn't think of the Japanese as an incredibly... I've never seen this in another Japanese movie, except for these three.
Just random singing. Like, it's completely unnecessary, and then it just, out of nowhere, they sing for a couple minutes. It's not a musical. Yeah, we totally described that in The Three Treasures, how that movie is not a musical.
Not a musical.
And then they sing for a portion of it. And you described the reasons why that's a little off-putting for an audience. Because we do not believe we're in a musical.
Yeah, if you don't put it early enough in the film. Now, this was pretty early.
Yeah.
It wasn't
that's true.
early enough for a musical. Musical, you need to have a song in the first 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Usually the first part of the movie.
The introduction of your character.
Yeah.
You know? Our two lead females could
Gorath,
have sung about
the musical coming soon to a local playhouse in Utah.
Will be written by Joe
and
co-produced by Drew.
Did not get permission from Toho to do this.
They haven't released it on DVD or Blu-ray. They'd still come and sue us. But
yeah, they would still come and sue us, believe me. All right, so Yumi Shirakawa,
Yumi.
she joined Toho when she was 19 in 1956. She died when she was 76.
Oh.
So she, I think by the end of that year, she was in Rodan, it looks like it says. Ishirō Honda really liked her, so he used her in Mysterians. She was apparently a supporting role in the Mysterians
She was
as well.
in the Mysterians as well?
Yeah,
Wow.
dude, we missed this girl somehow.
Yeah, she is just like
or we talked about her and she just like looks amazing in this movie. And the H-Man and Story of an Iron Arm and the Scarlet Man.
So none of those being a Kurosawa film?
No, none of those are Kurosawa.
Darn. Kurosawa could have used her.
The Telegraphed Man. She was used in a lot of Ozu movies, it looks like. Autumn for the Early Autumn is the English title for that one. And The Last War, which is a war movie she was in, I guess.
So we missed it for just a moment here, Joe, but it showed off Gorath floating through space, and it sucked in like a shooting star. And it's kind of like, I swear 85 to 90% of the film is human characters solving this problem that Gorath is presenting them with of total annihilation of the Earth. And then every once in a while we're thrown a scene of Gorath floating through space sucking up something. But we get our funny man back again. He was the guy who went after the cap in Rodan, I believe. It was either Rodan or Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. But the cap blew down into a volcano, and he's like, will you pay me money to go get your hat? Yeah, I'll pay you like $10 or whatever. And then, risks life and limb for $10 to get somebody's hat.
All right, so this actress, she actually died at 79 years of age on June 14th, 2016. So
Are you still talking about the same actress?
Yeah, same actress. She apparently, this is noted on IMDb as being interesting. Most starlets like her end their career with marriage. And she did not. Her career kept going pretty much until she died, because I'm seeing some credits here till like 2011, 2013.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Probably retained her looks, so, why not? Why not act? But that is surprising that she was married and she continued to act.
Or she's just a talented actress, Drew. Don't be so shallow.
Joe, it's what the industry demands of both women and men, but unfortunately more so for women.
True.
You ain't got the looks.
It's sad.
You ain't gonna be in the movies.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. It shouldn't be that way.
Shouldn't be.
They should be judged purely based on their acting
talent.
chops alone.
Yeah. Here's a problem with that.
Yeah.
Most screenwriters are men, so if there's going to be a spec screenplay, or even if they're paid to write a screenplay, they're going to have probably more male characters in it because it's more natural to write for a man role. I don't know how much writing you've ever done, fictional. If you ever dabbled in it, it's pretty easy as a man because your own experience.
Yeah, for sure.
To add male characters. Now, the reason why there's more male screenwriters, there's a lot of speculation on that. But it does, to me, I think the reason why there's not that many female roles, especially in there's not that many leading lady roles for like a 40-year-old woman, but there's a billion for a 40-year-old man, right?
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure it was Amy Poehler and Tina Fey. Tina Fey. I couldn't remember the last name. Who talked about that problem at length, that there's like an expiration date for women in Hollywood.
Which is because there's just not enough women writers, which is another problem.
Okay, well, Tina Fey, there you go. I'm pretty sure she wrote 30 Rock.
There's not enough women in Hollywood. I don't like. I'm not one of those people who like needs to watch a movie that like, oh, does this apply to me? Like I can watch a movie with a bunch of Japanese people in it, and it's like I don't care.
Obviously you can,
I'm a white guy, and I can watch these things and enjoy it. It's part of the human experience.
Their problems, concerns, experiences, the thing they care about, everything they apply to me as well.
Right. So
they're universal.
There's no problem with having more women roles in movies.
I think there's
no problem with that.
It takes more confidence and more just. For lack of a better word, and to apply this to women, it's kind of harsh, but machismo, because, generally a male term, in order to do that, in order to become a leading woman or just an actress at all, because there's just more pushback. I mean, you're a good-looking guy who can act decently. There's more opportunity.
There's more
there.
roles for you.
Yeah,
which is sad.
Yeah,
I don't know how you fix that problem.
You have more women behind the scenes.
More
of these
women
movies
behind the
and
scenes.
TV.
That is probably number one thing to do.
Joe, I love. The cinematography.
Not more women acting, more women behind the scenes.
Yes, and then the problem will fix itself.
Hopefully,
yes.
In theory.
Yeah, in theory.
Okay.
The cinematography in this film is far better than it should be. Like, it just is really good.
It is really good, and I started this movie going, "This is not Ishirō."
Yeah, and then it was.
It was.
But Joe, one thing
I was like, wow, the camera moves really dynamic, really wide sweeping things. It reminded me a lot of Jun Fukuda style wise.
Yes, but less shaky, definitely more stable, but just really well planned out zooms and like dollies and just, I mean,
a lot of dolly moves.
The transitions are wonderful in this film.
A lot of dolly moves, and that is not
from
something
shot to shot
does very much.
And great use of the sets, man. I swear they're in the same room that they just rearrange differently. Or I say room, but really, studio set. And they just, great use of sets in this film.
Think anyone checked his math?
It's just a wall of math here. As we were talking, what has happened is because not much, we learn a little bit more about our main characters who unfortunately fall a little flat in the film. I don't care as much about their like interests or what their motivations. It's what we care about, at least as a viewing member myself. I don't know about you, Joe, is how they're going to solve the problem. Once we find out their solution to the problem, holy cow, we're in disbelief until we see it on screen. But there are meetings of not only the Japanese, but men and a few women, definitely mostly men, from around the world.
A few secretaries.
Yeah. Wow, we're just talking about the gender gap here.
That's right.
But definitely not fixed in the 60s. Anyway.
Still not fixed.
Some very subpar non-Japanese speaking actors delivering some lines extremely flatly.
How dare you, Drew? Payback.
I don't think anyone... I'm really grateful to have had you on these podcasts, because otherwise I don't think I would have noticed as much where that's coming from. Why the English-speaking actors in this are horrible.
Because they're not actors.
Yeah, they're just guys that happen to be in Japan.
Nick Adams does a pretty good job.
Well, because he was an actor.
Yeah.
He was an actor that they shipped over, and he happened to like it in Japan. He happened to like the Japanese people. So he's like, I'll do a few films here. Yeah, I'm totally good with staying over
he
here.
He must have been a more solid performer than Christian Bale is. Right
and
now.
You also said with Christian Bale that had a lot to do with the editing, because it wasn't an English.
But what's surprising is that the editing is good enough on the Nick Adams stuff.
Yeah, I think
that his performance is.
But that was Joe. That was a co-production between an American studio and a Japanese studio. So I don't know who would have done. There could have been like an English-speaking editor and a Japanese-speaking editor. I have no idea.
That's a good point. I have no idea. Yeah. Cinematography is excellent in this movie. Production design, as you were saying, is excellent. The script is horrible.
It's just that...
And you know what? It's co-written. One of the co-writers I don't know, and there was no information on that I could find.
The thing that I found on... you go on your point, and I'll talk about the writer.
The other writer was Takeshi Kimura.
Yeah, the serious one.
Who was the writer for Godzilla, the original 1954, and
every single
he
more
generally
serious
made
Godzilla
the more
film.
serious Godzilla films. He
in
made
the Showa era.
The movie I love, Frankenstein Conquers the World.
Yeah, good one.
And yet,
but Joe,
I forgot my father was blasting off into space today. Whoops.
It shows that he
Let me put my blast back on.
shows that he was not the main writer of the film. So I'm sure that the writer you were referring to,
I can tell he probably wrote the opening sequence of them all sacrificing themselves as they go into as they all look death in the face as they go into the star
and accept
so
it.
I can believe that he wrote that scene.
Oh, totally.
Totally.
That's a Takeshi Kimura scene.
Whoops,
but,
forgot he was in space.
Jojiro Okami. That's probably the
And
writer
later
he was
with
talking
the
about.
abusive boyfriend.
So Jojiro Okami, of which there is no information on this writer in our English-speaking internet.
English language web.
Yeah. He was a former Japanese Air Force pilot who also gave the original ideas to the films The Mysterians, Battle in Outer Space, which was the sequel to The Mysterians, and Dogora. So yeah,
so we're going to be seeing a few of his movies.
Not necessarily. I mean, they credit him as a writer, but I think that's because
he came up
was
with the concept, maybe
the ideas, the original ideas.
Gotcha.
Okay, we can't go past this though, Joe. You talked about the science or did anybody check his math? They were in a big boardroom meeting with all these UN people and our terrible English speaking actors. As the scene transitions from the UN council meeting before that, so zoom in on that scene, just great cinematography, slow zoom out across the boardroom, then a fade to being zoomed out in this meeting of the scientists from the UN, and it slowly zooms in to this wall of just math equations, and we see our Japanese lead, just one of, I don't know his name, but good looking guy, and he's explaining all this science to the UN scientists. They all come up with the idea to blast the Earth through space with giant rocket thrusters from the South Pole. And okay,
the way
the way they pitch that,
math checks out.
The UN scientists can absorb this math, and then it cuts to them pitching it to the politicians of, I believe it's either the UN or certainly to Japan. And it's like a slideshow with pictures.
Yeah.
And the stark contrast. The stark contrast between needing a coloring book, picture visuals.
I need a picture book.
To show to the politicians. But then they have all the math for the scientists. Man, there is a political statement there. There absolutely is.
The kindergartner books that have the words, the little words, and then the drawings in between.
The UN scientists understand this calamity through the lens of math equations, and yet they have to draw a picture of the Earth barren and desolate to show off to these politicians.
This is what will happen.
Yeah, the Earth's gonna die.
I forgot about that part.
Man, that was bad. This is Ishirō Honda who directed, the destruction of the Diet Building in Godzilla, or at least, the Diet Building was shown to be crushed or whatever. So just political statements.
Sexy bath.
Kumi Mizuno in bubbles.
Yep.
And she has to get out because Akira Kubo, I believe is the name, Japanese Clark Kent.
Because of crazy controlling boyfriend coming in?
Okay, you would think that, Joe, but I have a reason for him being so threatening to her. There's no...
we haven't talked about this at all, by the way. This was the part of the movie that really pisses me off.
But Joe, there's no immediate threat in the film. There's nothing to move the pacing along. Otherwise, it's just kind of bland storytelling at this point. So I think the reason that he's just super rude to her by throwing the picture of her deceased boyfriend who died because of Gorath, he throws it out the window.
Set it up.
All right, you do it.
Set it. Okay. He wants her, or they're dating or something, right?
I don't think they're dating.
You don't think they're dating?
No, but he wants to date her.
Okay, he wants to date her at least. Mm-hmm. Sees that she is still mourning her boyfriend from 2 days ago.
Yeah, he died he was absorbed by Gorath.
He
in a freak
forces
accident.
her to throw the pictures away.
But he throws them away.
Oh, he throws them away.
And then
that's even worse.
But then, Joe, we get that cool, granted, but yes, we get the cool shot of looking down.
We get a cool shot, man. It's totally worth it.
The POV shot of the picture he dropped from
there are no consequences for what he has done.
There's no consequences. He skirts the consequences because of his
He's also heroic?
No, his memory loss. Suddenly she has sympathy for him, remember? But I really think the reason they make him into such an a-hole here is because otherwise it's really bland here in the middle.
My confusion.
They're just figuring out what to do, and yet they're not, and they need to set up characters, but there's no tension. I mean, Gorath is far away. We're not worried about Gorath at this point. It's coming, granted, but there's going to be like a long lull in the middle of the film if we don't have...
Gosh, let her keep the picture. He's dead.
He's still threatening Akira Kubo, man.
And he's ugly as crap. Like, you could just feel confident that
he's dead, and
I am a step
looking.
up from this.
Yeah. Kumi Mizuno, hit on me.
Yeah, he does. He throws it away. That's right. Okay, so
in the shot of
I'm just wondering if at the time, whether or not this was like it's his right as a man to.
Well, he's grabbing her.
Yeah,
I'm
just wondering if that was the
misogyny,
case.
dude.
It's super misogynistic and it's super like psycho mode.
If you're easily triggered by stuff like that, don't
triggered.
Triggered.
Gorath.
Yeah, they do get the cool crane up with
the POV, like looking straight down at the ground.
Yeah,
there's all these people surrounded in this like picture.
I joked about there'd be like a body next to it because like he threw the picture out and hit someone in the head. And everybody's looking at the body and they're like, "It was him."
Have you seen any of the Naked Gun films?
Oh no.
Okay, they're
I watched like 15
hilarious.
seconds of one and I was like, I'm not ready for this.
They're parody cop films, but yeah, that would be what would happen in a Naked Gun type film. Anyway, but here we are.
Only enough people have seen this movie to do a parody on it.
You know, if honestly you could do a parody on this whole
thing.
The whole decade or two of these science fiction movies.
Oh man, you could
make fun of all the tropes.
On that.
There we go, man.
Do some screenwriting.
we've talked enough about it, so we know what we're just.
Unfortunately,
as it's going through space, panning through space in your opening, have there be just tens of like weird shaped satellites, have them getting weirder and weirder.
Could do that. Unfortunately,
ending on Godzilla and a little fetus.
We're not going to be able to
Space Odyssey
style. We're not going to be able to get Dr. Serizawa.
Oh man,
and he would be like the cornerstone of it.
Speaking of, and we haven't recorded a podcast since it happened, unfortunately. Haruo Nakajima, our main suit actor for original Godzilla, he has passed on, unfortunately. He was old.
He's in this movie as well.
Yeah, he is Meguma. That was supposed to be kind of a reveal, because, like, who else is going to play Meguma? Man, Haruo Nakajima is all of these monsters, at least the main ones in our Showa era. Joe, has the line yet occurred? The line that you scoffed at. I think it's about to happen. Our main lead, I don't know his name.
This was 3 weeks ago, Drew. You're going to have to tell me.
Blacks, whites, and yellows, all united by the UN. You remember that? That's said by a Japanese male lead in this film.
Yes, I do. Yes.
My eyes could not roll any harder or further back.
Oh, man.
I think they almost permanently froze.
The line
back.
is terrible. That's one. It is subtitled translation. Oh, we got another titty building.
And this is post-Mysterians, so definitely taken from the Mysterians.
We shall make a structure that looks exactly like a boob. Within this boob, we shall do our
work.
We will
structure our scientific activities.
Okay. Blacks, whites, and yellows, which I was like, whoa.
Spoken by a Japanese male.
Yeah, so it's all right. And
yeah. Joe, these miniatures, fantastic.
Pretty good.
We're panning across miniatures of boats going through the Antarctica, and they're obviously still, but the way that it's panning is to simulate movement, and they have wakes behind them, however. So they're like, if you were to just look at it, not in the film, but like as a model, it's supposed to simulate movement, but because of the panning of the cameraman, it's just great. You see, good. Yeah,
they do some good job with the models, except when they get to the Mega Block dudes in the
sitting on the tractors, moving Earth. But there isn't Earth
pretty good
in Antarctica. However, is there?
Yeah, there is.
I thought it was just ice.
That's the Arctic.
Yeah, okay, well, the South Pole.
It's the South Pole.
All right,
that's a continent.
I was forced to read Shackleton's Voyage back in the day, but
there is land there.
Okay, so there is solid land underneath all the ice.
I am floored that you didn't know that for sure, Drew.
I'm not knowledgeable in such things, Joe.
There was a girl whose pants I wanted to get into in high school,
Joe,
who did not know Eskimos were from the North Pole.
Yeah.
Drew's like, I didn't know either.
Nope, me neither.
And I made fun of her for years.
I don't even know if... I'm pretty sure Shackleton's Voyage, they go to the South Pole. Were you forced to read that one?
So, yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Shackleton was South Pole.
I'm pretty sure it was South Pole, yeah.
Well, now I'm unsure. Thanks.
Someone's going to correct
Now I'm
this.
questioning myself, and I just totally was like, Drew, idiot.
Extremely weird.
Now I don't know.
Extremely weird random fact from this section of the film, because we're just shown gratuitous miniatures in the building of these... there are separate structures for separate nations, which is strange. There's a Japanese structure here in the South Pole. There's a U.S. one. And
all united by the UN.
Yeah, and then there's a UN structure. So, we each get our own little... although we're supposed to be united, we have individual science centers for some reason.
Individual and also together.
Okay. Strange fact, really
There's
quick,
a lot
Joe.
of pro-UN stuff in these Japanese movies. Like
I think
these
they're
early
just
ones.
kissing the UN's butt.
They just love that UN, man.
The two things they show off gratuitously in these science fiction films, Japanese Special Defense Force, and they don't have rockets. They don't. They probably do today. I'm not quite
I'm a member
sure.
of the UN.
But at the time, they do not. Yeah, it's like the UN members can do no wrong, especially the ones that are in like the policing business.
Then have you seen, what is that? Shoot. I just forgot that movie where there's the...
Well, you think about it for a moment where, Joe, weird fact, most of the ships and helicopter models seen in the South Pole construction sequence we just saw were scale model kits that were made by a company called Revell and Aurora. Many of these kits have been re-released and are still available. Joe, you could, theoretically, purchase those kits and make yourself a recreation of that scene.
No need.
No reason to, but why not?
I forgot the movie where the UN guys totally fail. There's a more recent movie where there's a
I would think that
there's like a genocide going on in
Rwanda.
Rwanda. Thank you.
It's not Hotel Rwanda, is it?
It is
No?
Hotel
Okay,
Rwanda.
all
I was
right.
like, this should be the movie pairing, like the one that like sucks.
Are you talking about a double
sucks
bill?
off the UN and the double bill. And then we can watch Hotel Rwanda.
This like acclaimed film that's still fairly modern, and then you pair it with Gorath.
I could see this as a double feature. Could you not?
No. What was a double feature, however, at the time, released over here in the States.
What we thought at the time about the UN, what we think now.
We keep hearing, do you remember a mention of a movie called The Human Vapor? I've mentioned it a few times.
Maybe.
We're not going to watch it on our podcast because no giant monsters in it.
Well, then it's a worthless film.
Yes, for our podcast,
Worthless.
yes. But
Oh, yeah, the collapse. Okay.
yeah, cool collapse because of the
Cool
snow
collapse.
effects. Before I go on with what I was about to say, atomic burrowers, Joe, that's what they use because they have to dig out the Earth, which, yes, Joe has told us that there is Earth, however, in the South Pole, which I was not sure of. They have to bore into the Earth in order to have area, room, whatever, underground reactor cores for these atomic thrusters. And what they use to burrow out these atomic, these holes in the Earth are what are called atomic burrowers. Joe, those were those big machines, those things with tractor treads that had like sparklers shooting out of the front of them. Mm-hmm. Atomic burrowers. They find caverns already there, and I thought this would be more of a plot point, but it's not really. And due to so they find these existing caverns under the Earth, and I suppose that's where Maguma comes from later. But yeah, they just it kills a lot of people. It buries the atomic burrowers, and we see a matte painting of our main characters looking out.
It was real, Drew. You ruined it.
They sell it well that the main characters are at there's a really low angle shot, and they're looking out, air quotes, into this cavern that doesn't actually exist. Yeah, because they're looking from a tunnel where they were burrowing.
So there's supposed to be a bunch of people from all around the world working in this place.
Yep, in the South Pole.
There is after the collapse of the building into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole bunch of people running in a hallway.
Yeah.
And
running
all
away
of them
from this
have
collapse.
hats on and masks coming over their face because they were all Japanese extras and they had to cover them all.
And the funny thing, I think it's around the time of that just horrendous line, blacks, whites and yellows, all united by the UN. I hope that was a bad translation. Hope. There's a really wide angle shot, like panning across the room of all these scientists working. I don't think they're in the South Pole yet. There's some white guys. The panning shot. Yeah. The panning shot is following
that hallway.
It's following the Japanese lead male who's walking through and kind of tapping everybody on the shoulder, saying good job, and getting their advice
also,
or whatever. But
no China, no Russia.
Dude, there is one black guy in that panning shot.
There's one black guy in this entire movie.
And he's in like a wide angle panning shot, and so they include him, but
barely. Their helmets have unimproved.
Not
actually, their helmet is.
This is, you got to say this is 62.
But when the mask is flipped up, it looks so dorky.
Yeah, the foam padding around the sealant of the helmet, it doesn't help.
I'm gonna go off. I'm gonna go off topic for a second.
Okay, go on.
I was feeling my chestal area, and I noticed there was like a lump. There was a lump. No, I'm just kidding. Yep. It was in my pocket, not breast cancer. There was a lump in my pocket, and I moved up, and there's a jelly bean in my pocket of my shirt. I have no idea how it got into my pocket.
Joe, this moment of the jelly bean in your pocket preserved forever on podcast for the listeners of Gorath. I'm sure this is very insightful for them.
Caleb, okay, on another podcast, Caleb Craig was eating jelly beans, and I think he must have slipped a jelly bean into my breast pocket.
I thought he would have been throwing them at you, and it would have... Wait, so he touched your chest?
I don't know. I don't remember any of this. There's just a jelly bean just showed up. Magically.
It looks like a coffee one.
Are you
going to eat it?
Yeah, I'm going to eat it.
It's a super fruit.
You guys want to eat this? You want to hear this?
Yeah, what's the flavor? It's super fruit, isn't it?
It's a fruity flavor. I don't know what fruit it is.
There's a weird jelly bean, if it's like the Jelly Belly jelly beans, it's that color of purple, and it's just called super fruit. It just tastes fruity. I eat a lot of jelly beans. Anyway.
I dig it.
Oh, yeah. They're dang good.
And I only have one jelly bean. I got to check the other pocket. Nope. No jelly bean.
Joe's going to grab a bag of jelly beans on the way home.
Probably.
So, where does Kurosawa fit into this film?
I don't know.
You just saw him.
Oh, the actors?
The actor.
The actor. Wait, what
not
actor?
Not Kurosawa. What the hell?
I have no idea.
Sarazawa. Dr. Sarazawa from Godzilla has a recurring role.
He does use these actors
in all of our films.
Yeah.
All the films we review, sorry. But he is the leader, the ultimate leader of the crew for the JX-2 Eagle. We think throughout most of the beginning act of the film that it's going to be Akira Kubo who leads the crew. And then they're suddenly all super happy to find out who their captain is, and they know who it is. We are not revealed yet as audience members who it is. They're running up to him as he shows up at wherever they're being trained in Japan.
Famous captain.
Yeah, and he just dismisses them. I mean, this crew is a cheery, very well unified. They're like brothers, and yet, he just kind of blows them off. Doesn't care. Doesn't really care that he's going on this rescue mission or science data gathering mission. On this second excursion into space, they are smart enough to not steer the vehicle that close to Gorath, so they have a smaller vehicle that they shoot Akira Kubo off towards Gorath to take scientific readings, whatever. Mm-hmm. They're gonna make up all this stuff for the film.
And this entire time, dude, so he loses his memory.
Yep, because he gets too close to Gorath.
I thought he was gonna be like, it's aliens. The entire movie, dude.
You thought it was going to be aliens, as in I thought it was going to be like
species
a crazy
alien ship.
No, I thought that it was going to be a sentient giant asteroid.
My disappointment in the lack of aliens in this movie is great.
You never viewed, I doubt you would have seen it, but you need to, the animated Transformers movie, the original one. Dude, so good.
The Michael Bay animated Transformers movie?
No, there's no animated Michael Bay.
I'm pretty sure that entire movie's animated.
Joe, the cartoon one.
Right.
Joe, the one from the 80s. The one where Optimus Prime dies in number 1.
80s. The car? Is the car from the 80s? I can't remember.
Anyway.
How old's that car?
Joe,
anyways.
In that film.
Sorry.
There is a.
I'm trying to be funny. I'm sorry.
I can't pick up on
sarcasm. I won't be funny anymore.
Yeah, you will.
I can't pick up on sarcasm either, but I give it all the time. It's a real problem. It's a real problem in my life.
We both have this issue.
Yeah.
In that movie, however, there is a giant transformer that's the size of a planet, and it's floating through space. It's sentient. It has like a will of its own. I can't remember off the top of my head the name of that planet, but I totally thought that was going to be Gorath. So Gorath kind of has a presence, however.
Sentient planet.
Yeah, crazy, huh? That's not what happens, so it's beside the point. Either taking a long drag on a doobie or taking a line of Coke and what can we sell? What can we sell to people? This is Hollywood. We got to make up some crap idea and sell people on it.
Pretty sure that's a Japanese cartoon, right?
What?
Transformers?
No, I'm not sure. But Transformers was, yes, the cartoon. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if the film was, however. It's likely a Japanese one that we dubbed over into English.
The film?
It actually, I would argue that it was. It actually is like a film. Wow. It's for kids. It's for kids, but it's highly enjoyable for nerds. Yeah, so. Okay, we get our 2001 A Space Odyssey-esque space scene where the actors float through space. Surprisingly, the wires on which they are strung in this zero gravity
George Clooney comes and visits.
Everything's going to be okay.
Tells him how to solve his problems.
Gravity. Where's Sandra Bullock in the film? But no, it's 2001.
Actually, if you look deep in the distance of this shot, you can see Sandra Bullock kind of floating out there.
Is she screaming?
Screaming. But you can't hear anything, dude. Space, no one can hear you scream.
Completely silent. That's Alien, man.
But it's true.
But it looks to 2001 A Space Odyssey-ish due to the fact that we just have guys out in space.
Now, the special effects are just a step down from there, but they are still pretty good special effects.
Oh, yeah, they really are. And they use a lot of special effects in the film. This is a special effects heavy film. Even compared to all the other ones we're viewing.
But no monsters.
There is one.
There is one, eventually.
His name, let's save it for when he appears on screen.
Yeah.
Okay, the Kurosawa. Serizawa. The Serizawa actor in the film. I can't remember the actor's name. How many of these have we done and we still
I don't know, dude. I can never remember his name. Dr. Serizawa is so much easier to remember.
I'm looking at a list, but this is so bad because he's great. That actor is great.
He's a great actor,
but he's just flat. Not his acting, but his character in the film. He's pretty one note. He just shoots down everybody and everything they want to do. He's the stern captain who just You
ready for this, Drew?
What? Tell me.
The other character that's talking to Japanese Clark Kent.
Yeah, main male. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who's the star of A Knight's Tale and who plays Joker? Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
It's Japanese Heath Ledger.
I'm gonna have to look for him.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
You're gonna see it. I'll point it out.
To make a Japanese Heath Ledger? Wow.
Japanese Heath Ledger, dude. You're gonna see him
right there
on the right.
Oh my gosh!
Look at him. At least with the mask on, he looks like Heath Ledger.
This is proving a great case for like beauty, the symmetry of faces, and like
actors.
Well, no, just that beauty it's universal, man. I watched a documentary once with of all the people, John Cleese, I think is his name. He's the Monty Python actor. It's something Cleese, but anyway,
John Cleese, yeah,
John Cleese. And they talk about just beauty. That was the whole point of the documentary. And they talk about the symmetry of faces. And that's got to be the reason, man. We're seeing these faces that look so similar. That's why we get the Japanese Tilda Swinton, the Japanese Heath Ledger. I can't remember the
Clark Kent.
Yep, over and over.
Over and over.
It doesn't matter their ethnicity. If the face is symmetrical and the proportions to their features are correct, they're beautiful. It's a good-looking face. Okay, we're about to have a lift-off of planet Earth. Man, that matte painting's pretty cool, I gotta say.
So, to the Japanese, are they like
the Japanese,
the American, blah blah blah?
I think so. Everyone in Japan is glued to the television right now because we're about to see the thrusters boost off. Although
I guess it would be boosting off.
yeah, Earth is about to lift off the entire planet.
Oh yeah. Okay, now we get into the BS part of the movie. Besides the already
it
BS
happens
part
at the
of the
halfway point.
You can't do this.
You weren't really listening. You were looking on the phone stuff about our main female lead, and I'm glad you did. But yeah, I already talked about how it would throw off. We are in a very nice orbit. We are not too close to the sun. We are not too far away from the sun. If we are moving the Earth through space, thus throwing it out of orbit, the orbit that we are currently in with the sun, dude, we are going to mess up so much. Tides are going to go ballistic. The Earth's weather is there's going to be
day and night is going to be a little weird because you're thrusting the Earth. You're changing how it's moving right now.
Cataclysmic weather anomalies. We're going to die.
We're dead in just a few days.
And this panning shot
of
the
what would be
miniatures
days, but
over
now
and
days
over.
are different.
Because it was matte paintings before we had liftoff of all of these structures coming out of the Earth in the South Pole.
This is
now it's actual miniatures. It just pans across like I want to say dozens of these thrusters. The Earth's moving though, dude. That shot. A matte painting of the Earth with a giant bright spot at the South Pole, and the Earth is flying through space. I have had so much fun talking to coworkers and my girlfriend. You know, she really enjoyed the synopsis of the film, where I'm telling them, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to do this podcast. You want to know the plot of the film? We push Earth through space
to get away from a giant star."
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
And it makes more sense in having looked up stuff about the film. There's a shot that's coming pretty soon, I think after the appearance of Meguma, where Gorath passes Saturn. Gorath sucks off the rings of Saturn, man. And it makes more sense because that was the main goal of the mission of the like JX-1
but not
Hawk.
Saturn, just the rings.
Exactly. That's a goof in the film somebody pointed out online. If it's strong enough to suck off the rings of Saturn, it should have been strong enough to suck off the atmosphere of Saturn. Whatever. It's pseudoscience. It's all science fiction, man.
Okay. What is stupider? More stupid. Dumber-er.
What's dumbest?
What is dumbest?
What is the most dumb?
Superman reversing time to save Lois Lane in Superman.
It's that.
By flying around the Earth in reverse to make the Earth orbit in reverse.
Yes.
Or pushing Earth away with a bunch of rockets at the South Pole.
Man, early era. So
what is dumber?
I believe at that point in comics with Superman, they had already passed the era of every shot of the thrusters on the Earth. It looks so bad. But okay. Dumber is Superman turning back time by like just flying through whatever. It's bad. If you don't know what it is, just don't look it up. Don't watch those early Superman films.
I thought that movie was all right. It was good when it took itself seriously, and then when it was like the comic relief parts, it was cringing. And then I cringed at him reversing time as well.
It's not in that same film that he uses his vision to rebuild the Great Wall of China.
That's not that one.
That's not that one. No. Okay. But very early and for the introduction really of the first era of Superman, his powers were expanded upon bit by bit to like solve situations. That was Superman's powers, was like there was a situation he has to get out of. They invent a new power for him to be able to get out of the situation. He's never changing character with an ever expanding like litany of abilities. Anyway, I think that they'd gotten past that at that point in the comics. In that movie, it's more of a throwback to like, yeah, he can do anything. Because it's just like, how do we resolve this story?
Yeah.
Let's give him a new power. Man,
There's a dude whose hair in this scene I really wish I had.
You're talking about the main
that guy.
Male? Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, his hair such a modern haircut.
Pretty amazing.
Things in this film. Fantastic looking actors and actresses. They are just, oh my gosh, I just could gush over the way they look. Both in costume,
you are
haircut, facial, like these actors in their prime. We'll see these actors recurring in other films, which we've already commentated on and will commentate
perfect.
on. It's modern. It's very shortcut on the sides.
It's honestly a hair that I try to do. Like, I can't, my hair won't, because it won't stay up that high.
Pomade aerogel, dude. Suavecito.
Okay, this is fashion with Drew and Joe.
Well, Joe, you have a very nice shirt on today. Where did you get that shirt from?
I got the shirt from Sears. Where else?
I have a few shirts from Sears that actually are pretty nice.
Here's
I have
the thing.
pullover from Sears.
So I lost a bunch of weight. I went from 295 to 227. Thank you. I probably have already talked about it on the show, but I lost a bunch of weight. Still,
where are you at
in the process of trying to lose weight?
What's your weight?
227. I just said it.
Dude, nice.
Okay. I'm at a weird weight for myself.
Yeah.
Just a weird fat amount where larges are so close.
Yeah.
There's just one little part in my stomach where my belly button is at. It's the only part where a large shirt does not fit. That's the part of the shirt where it's like, I can't do this anymore. Like, every other part of the shirt fits except for my stomach.
So I know you're eating right. Are you also exercising?
Yeah, I exercise at work. I run back and forth for 4 hours a day.
So you got both things going on.
I got both things
That's
going
the
on.
way to.
Okay,
it's the way to do this.
Now
you got to do both.
I came in with M&Ms today. Obviously, there was a birthday party yesterday, so I ate cake, and then today I ate some cake for breakfast. So I'm gonna have to get back on tomorrow. Now, so I've been doing
Nothing
that.
wrong with having
I've been working on
days.
it. I know. Yeah, cheat days usually add 5 pounds, and I have to get back off. But there. So
God, your metabolism, dude.
I have okay, I'm at a weird weight where like larges fit everywhere but there, and extra larges are too big. I had to find slim fit extra large.
Whoa.
So that's what this is. It's the only shirt that fit me in the entire store.
Oh.
And I went to Burlington Coat Factory, and then I went over to Sears.
Well, and you're an average height male, so like you're lucky that once you get into just larges where it's like, I fit in a large, just a regular large, you'll have an easier time finding clothes that fit. Dude,
yeah, my torso is average. My legs are short.
If I could find large slims, that would be perfect for me. But they need to be like not big and tall, just tall. Anyway, the struggle of being a male and looking good in your clothes.
Yeah, I can't find pants that are short enough.
When you look up like pants online and you usually get them from anywhere other than like a...
Never looked up pants online, so maybe I should try that.
5 and oak. I can't remember something in oak. Anyway, usually just like female pants, all you can find is the waist. They don't give a length.
Oh, that's weird.
It's ridiculous. Yeah,
that's
I was
weird.
not used to that. It's the movie's lulling, obviously.
No.
What we are about to witness, we are about to bear witness unto Maguma.
Yeah, it's not that exciting, to be honest.
Nope, it's not.
And that's the only reason we're watching this movie.
For a 6-minute sequence that was not written into the film, and yet it appeared in the final cut of the film.
Okay. So, he wasn't originally written in there.
Nope.
Then the producer, which is Tanaka, who produced the Godzilla movies, he said he wanted to add a monster into the movie to sell the movie.
They heavily use Maguma in promotion for the film. Yep.
So they had to add him in somewhere. So the third act twist is that suddenly there's a monster also in the Antarctic that they unearthed with their BS digging around.
I suppose, yes, it is a third act twist. Rockets. You're right, but it doesn't last long, and it's kind of marks the beginning. It's either happens just before the beginning of the third act or just before the beginning of the third act. But like we're coming to the end of this film, and we have a giant walrus that emerges from the South Pole.
This man's books are so beautifully organized on his
wall. You
wall.
Notice that, Joe? You have. I just noticed the background on your phone. Is that the Kong from King Kong Escapes next to which actress?
To Linda Miller. So
Linda Miller.
I got my unlock screen is Kong. I open it up and Linda Miller is revealed. Yes, Drew. That is my background. It has been my background for a few months.
What will never cease to amaze me is how you found that like pages and pages and pages long Linda Miller interview. That was wonderful. I read the whole thing. Yeah.
I love her.
She gave such a good interview about her short acting career. Such an interesting woman.
I'm going to have to watch The Green Slime or whatever the other movie is.
Yeah, for her like little appearance, her non-speaking role appearance.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, unfortunate. Her
there's not
acting.
even that many pictures of her online that are like
Joe, we just need to
her as a model.
We need to re-commentate on
So
King Kong Escape.
So cute.
Oh, did we do it on the Japanese and the English version? Because
we did. I think we did both.
Dang. If we didn't, then we can do a commentary on the other.
Or we could just watch it again. We don't need to do commentary over it, Drew. A giant walrus. Giant walrus surrounded by mist.
Acted by Haruo Nakajima.
Yeah.
Glowing blue eyes.
It's a pretty awful monster, but not as awful as the painting of flames behind the plane as it flies by.
So its name is Maguma. That's how a Japanese-speaking person would say
it
magma.
It should be called Gorath, because that's a better monster name. Go ahead.
It'd better. If they called him Gorath, it would also be a waste of a monster name. Because this monster...
That's true. It would be a waste of a monster, but it is a better monster name.
It would be a waste of a name on a bad monster is what it would be. But, Joe, this monster will never reappear. Ever in anything. Like, he's kind of a...
because he's terrible.
Yeah, it's a big walrus.
It's a big walrus.
He has
dopey looking.
The only other giant monster
and
off
the
the
suit has
top
a lot of
head.
creases in it, you know?
Yeah, it's very baggy. Only other giant monster from Toho films I can think of who doesn't have superpowers, Anguirus, but at least Anguirus has spikes. Maguma, being a walrus, has large tusks. Yeah, that's about it.
I think he's similar to Varan in design and kind of the way he lumbers around, but
Varan,
he looks even worse.
Is it a superpower of Varan's to have the ability to both be a land creature, be able to fly? Granted, he glides, but he can fly because he makes it over the ocean in either the English or Japanese version. He makes it a long ass way.
How dare you say the A word? Go ahead.
Dude, you've already said.
I didn't say anything.
I
I did not curse.
What, you didn't curse?
I didn't curse.
The problems of doing
I got a swear jar on my
podcast.
phone now, dude.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not cursing anymore.
But who gets the money?
I'm gonna give it away to charity at the end of the year.
You don't curse, yet you do Nude Clan?
I didn't curse. Listen to the last 4 episodes of New Clan. I have not cursed.
That would seem to detract from that podcast, but whatever. Your choice.
People haven't said anything about it, so I just don't.
Have you revealed that on Nude Clan that you're not cursing?
I did reveal it on Nude Clan, right. And still no one said anything. It's weird. Sometimes they talk to you about things that you didn't even oh, you care about that? And
yeah.
No one cares.
Well, we found out on Twitter, apparently people just want us to talk about Godzilla. Here we are talking about a giant walrus.
Yeah, the Godzilla podcast. We're talking about Godzilla. Walrus. Talking about Godzilla right now. Godzilla's pretty awesome.
At least by the end,
unlike this monster.
By the end, we will tie in this film, not with Maguma, however, with another plot point or plot device in the film with later Godzilla movies. Hint, hint.
He also dies relatively easy for a monster.
Yeah, 6 minutes. 6 minutes is his total screen time ever.
Total lifetime. He was awakened. He was birthed from the Earth.
Yeah.
The Earth is pissed off because I need to be back in orbit. And then the Earth summons
the two main scientists of this film and the helicopter piloting the they're coming to check out Maguma. At first, they do not wish to kill Maguma. They want to
study it.
Not so much study, but just
that's right. I remember.
They don't want to use lethal force, but they want to subdue him. So they use this giant laser that they have attached to their helicopter, conveniently enough, because just this movie invents technologies that are convenient for the plot. He's in a canyon, Maguma is, and they use the laser to blast the walls of the canyon and cave him in. They land, scientists come up to say, hey, let's check out Maguma. And Joe and I both called it. He's not actually subdued. He breaks through the rocks very quickly. They scurry back to the helicopter. They're forced to kill him. And yeah, that's the end of Maguma.
Yeah, don't they do a landslide first? It doesn't work.
That's what I just said.
They cut him in half with the laser.
You're really listening to what I said?
Yeah, I was thinking about something else.
No, you're not good. You're not.
They got the audience got the information.
Yeah.
Drew.
But that's what's important. Not that the co-host is listening.
How dare you say I'm not listening, Drew? You were recapping.
Maguma does not have a tail, weirdly enough. It's the suit actor's legs, because imagine if he had to scoot around with his feet together. And he's got flippers, but that walrus has two opposing...
I would like to see a giant mermaid.
Merman, Joe.
Merman. Oh, that's a better movie than this one.
I would much rather be watching Zoolander.
Okay, so these
The rocket thrusters are still going.
Where are they getting the fuel?
I see pseudoscience, man.
So you think they like just found a giant oil well and they're just like burning it off? Of course, that wouldn't even work because there's no thrust there,
and there's not enough oil on the planet.
It would just be burning it.
It's future sciences. Okay, we're just getting to the end of this. Let's Gorath. I would not.
Oh, that is a cool little model. I didn't see that before.
A forced perspective model.
Yeah, it's a forced perspective model behind the window there.
Again, with the good cinematography, our lead female actress, which Joe has went over, I don't remember her name.
Yumi, I think.
Yeah, but it like zoomed out or dollied away from, and there's so much dolly in this film.
There's so much dolly,
and that's the mark of a good film.
Is it?
Joe?
A dolly is a mark of a good film. I'm gonna tell that to the people that work on my stuff. It's like, we need a dolly, guys.
It's gonna make it look more professional,
guys. Drew of the Godzilla podcast fame. He said a dolly is a mark of a good film. We need a dolly, guys. Actually, I had a dolly in a manual song. I do.
Do you not agree? I'm gonna go on with this. Do you not agree? Shots. It's the mark of a better than average film.
Is not a zoom in, which, considering this is 60s, there's a lot of opportunities for zooms as opposed to dollies.
And we don't see any zoom-ins?
Zooms have not aged well. Yeah. Zooms are seen as a specialty item or something to make a movie look really corny now.
It just very
really
much
dated.
It detracts from the viewing experience where all of a sudden you're like, I'm in a movie.
Dolly moves are still used today and have aged much better. You are right.
Yeah.
In that respect.
They just don't take you out of the film.
Yeah.
Not like a zoom does. Okay, so yes, Akira Kubo, they were off in space. They came back after studying Gorath. He is reintroduced to Kumi Mizuno's character, who he pissed off before by throwing her boyfriend's picture off the third-story apartment building window.
Psycho.
But he's redeemed. I just have no sympathy for the character. Do you, Joe?
No, none.
He's only redeemed.
He's horrible.
Redeemed, air quotes, in that he just lost his memory. So we don't have I don't feel pity for the guy. He doesn't deserve to be like, oh, I feel so bad for this guy. It's just forced. It's all forced emotion. I don't want to feel bad for him. Unlike in the loss of memory in Rodan, that one's made natural.
Yeah,
I feel bad for the guy, and it's done. So I'm done talking about that. Gorath is in the sky. Gorath is visible from Earth. Although
it's a star and it's not lighting up Earth at all.
Oh man,
it's a big fiery star.
It's about to absorb the moon. Would that not cause...
That's going to cause some tidal problems, yes.
As in, there will be no tide.
There will be no tide, which... How would that affect...
Joe,
so let's say we get the rocket thrusters, do the math to okay, we got to point the Earth in this direction with this much force and cut it off at exactly this moment in order to get back into orbit, which is what this would take.
Joe, they don't mention anything about getting back into the regular orbit.
Oh, we're about to run out of fuel.
We're in a new orbit with the sun. It completely...
You think carbon emissions are bad now, by the way. Oh, yeah, you're right. A bunch of rockets that cover Antarctica completely. Just
forget about...
Burn, baby, burn.
Forget about the impact that it's going to have if Gorath smashes into the Earth. We're killing ourselves with the emissions from these thrusters.
The thing is, the Earth is going to get real insulated.
We're gone. We're gone. The Earth, the human population, we're screwed. We killed ourselves.
Oh, man.
These miniatures of cars on the road. Wow.
I don't think that's that impressive. The real cars right there. That's more impressive.
So many real cars. All these people are out observing.
All those cars would be cool to have right now.
Joe, you mentioned the problem of if we ever had a remake of Gorath, because there's going to be some tsunami going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Japan's experiencing a tsunami in this film.
I like how
it strikes a bad chord in the mind of a Japanese audience nowadays.
It might. Yeah. I find it funny that they're going to suddenly have a small amount of realism in this movie.
The smallest amount?
It's like, oh man, tides got screwed up. Ocean's going to go wacko. And because I guess the moon was just going by really quickly. So it was like, oh, the water's like, woo. I guess is that how it's working? So there's a little bit of cause and effect. But
so you're talking about like real science.
But
trying to compare this movie to real science.
As far as like us not seeing the sun for a while, all those other issues, it's just
the Earth's gone. The end of this movie, we're already going to spoil
freezing
it.
cold in like 2 days.
What we're suddenly seeing is the tsunami flooding Japan. What is visible post
an insane tsunami?
Yeah, the miniature. It's great effects here. Like I thought the effects of the
2012.
What? Oh,
Roland Emmerich movie.
The one that I was forced to watch over and over in science classes in junior high because it had come out
that must have
around
been
that
Day
time.
After Tomorrow.
Yes, that one. You're right. Day After Tomorrow. Whenever there was like an off day and the teachers are like, "You've been good. You get to watch a movie. It's a science movie." We all watched The Day After Tomorrow, so I watched that movie like at least 5 times, or at least parts
Day
of it.
After Tomorrow.
I kept showing us that, but this is like the practical effects version of The Day After Tomorrow. Works.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Really well.
It's pretty cool.
They over crank the camera, so everything's like slowed down.
Yeah.
And man, it looks good, but again, striking such a bad chord with Japanese audiences, I can only imagine.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Like, every time I see a tsunami in a Japanese movie, I'm like, ooh.
I think we're a little.
That's how I feel.
We might be a little overly protective of like our feelings there.
I don't know.
But Joe,
every time I see a low hanging plane, Drew, I think, is that thing gonna smash into a building right now?
Yeah.
Which is a horrible thought. Every time I see a low hanging plane,
Joe,
it's like, okay, what terrorist took this thing
not
over?
as anxious as you, I guess. We're talking about a nation, however, Japan, that praised and lauded Godzilla, has accepted it, and that movie was talking about the atomic testing.
Yeah, that's true.
They really like reveled in that. Yeah. I mean, if you can say it that way, but yeah, they praised it, and were accepting of a movie that not quite exploited, but really delved into the like tragedy of atomic testing and. Japan produced, so there's
a long history of tsunamis in Japan, though. It's not like it was.
I wonder, though, however, Joe, if they're more accepting of that due to the fact that that's
why
like
they have a name for it.
It's a man-made disaster, and it was caused by humans. It's like it's a natural disaster. The tsunami, we can't really we can't pin it on anyone. It's harder to deal with those emotions. You can't really get angry. I mean, you can get angry at like fate or God or anything like that, but a natural disaster is a natural disaster, and you don't have anybody to like blame it on. It just happens. Yeah. I guess now we can blame it on everybody. We can blame it on everybody because of climate change.
Trump.
So
it's fantastic.
It's gonna be huge.
This.
It's going on.
How come that water isn't going over all the other stuff, like putting out the fire?
Yeah, the 6,600,000,000 megatons
of hot
of
it
force
is out there.
It melts through the water, Joe.
It melts the water,
Joe. What amount?
How does one melt water?
It evaporates it. Joe. I swear, there's something about like underwater fire.
There's
with
still
Pacific
snow
Rim.
on the ground.
Man, and you know what, Kay? Before we even get to the end here, our film's...
This movie's so stupid. How could you say The Mysterians is not as good as this movie?
I take it back.
You take it back now? You take it back now? Are you just appeasing me, or are you actually saying you take it back?
Upon second watching this film, it's just too slow.
This movie is horrible.
It's too slow. There's nothing going on. Okay, what the movie is supposed to do...
It's ridiculous.
What the movie's supposed to do is really delve into the thought process of people who are like uniting and overcoming this unstoppable force. It fails in that. It fails in that completely.
No, man, the UN saves the day.
Dude, it just glosses over it all. They just say like the UN is going to save everything.
Fixed it.
I think they're just relying on special effects that haven't... We keep praising the special effects, but I'm praising them for 60s special effects.
Yes.
They look good in the 60s.
Pretty good.
If we're comparing them to now.
I've seen much worse ones. Honestly, I just watched a 007 movie.
Okay.
Which one was it?
There's so many.
It was a Sean Connery. It was the Japan one.
Okay, the one where he goes yellow face.
You only live twice.
Is that the one where he
It is.
goes for light?
It's really uncomfortable in that part. You only live twice has worse spaceship special effects than this movie does.
Well, I can imagine that the budget of that film would have been on something else.
The budget of
this film
was gigantic. Actually,
Really?
You only live twice. Okay, Dr. No only had a budget of $1 million. Now
Okay.
I say only. That was pretty big budget for back then.
Yeah, I was gonna say adjusted
There
for
is
inflation.
there is a set in
Yes.
You Only Live Twice. It is ginormous. The budget for the set was $1 million.
Whoa.
And if you see You Only Live Twice, you'll see the set. It's huge. It's like the bad guy base, and it's just a gigantic set. So I wouldn't say it was a skimpy movie in any respect.
Yeah,
But
for budget wise. Yeah.
these space special effects sequences look considerably worse than this movie's.
Well, Joe, this movie is making me. It's just
They're both 60s
There's
movies.
nothing to captivate attention in the film, man.
because it's horrible. It's a horrible movie.
But that's a blanket statement, man. You gotta defend your opinion there. And
Okay. Good direction, good cinematography, good
Like,
model work
good direction. What do you?
from Ishirō Honda.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. For the director.
All
of the
those
film, okay.
dollies that you love. There's the decision, the blocking of the actors.
Yeah.
Great. Okay? Like, this is a really complex scene
Shot.
here.
Yeah.
movement.
Everyone's
Yeah.
congratulating the main character.
That takes a director to organize that, and his assistant directors and all that other stuff. So good direction. Pretty good editing. There were some cool spots there that were probably written into the screenplay, but it was well done.
Yeah, transitions. There's a lot of good transitions.
Horrible story and screenplay.
The story. Yeah, I think I was smoking some when I was saying I like the Sped and the
must
Mysterians.
have. What were you smoking?
Well,
Because I would like to smoke enjoy Gorath stuff.
I don't think you can smoke enough to enjoy Gorath, dude.
And also the disappointment that the monster's name is not Gorath. So deep. A deep disappointment.
The disappointment that there will never be a monster named Gorath. Okay, we're to the end of
But
the
there
film.
will be a heavy metal band named Gorath. 100%.
That is a deep cut, but yes. Is it a bad thing, though? It's a bad omen to name your band after such a mediocre film.
But an awesome title.
True. So you can make the name good.
Okay, how heavy is the band Gorath? You've never heard a single song. How heavy is the band Gorath?
It sounds black metal, man.
It is heavy.
If we're going black metal, then it's screeching. It's heavy.
Okay,
Screech vocals,
I
dude.
think death metal.
Cradle of Filth, man.
Like death metal, like big muscular metal.
Okay.
Personally, when I make
Power metal,
Gorath-
hair metal?
No, well, no. Thrash metal, I could see
Okay,
Gorath.
all right.
Which if it's me, it's probably going to be some sort of thrash, modern thrash metal.
True. And I'll throw in the black metal elements.
Yeah, a little bit of, and the little in
Some
between.
Danny Filth, Cradle of Filth screeches.
Yeah.
That's about as mainstream black metal as you can get, but I like it.
And it's-
Okay. End of the film.
The earth has a burnt hole at the bottom of it.
And no moon. Gorath ate our moon.
No moon. That's the end of the movie. Horrible.
The end of the movie is our main female actress, Nakumu Mizuno, and the main male actor who I don't even know his name. Good looking guy though. Looking out over Japan, and all you can see in Japan anymore is the tops of the skyscrapers because everything else is flooded. So completely caused by mankind that we have raised the level of the oceans, that Japan is no more. Yeah, they're optimistically looking out over that and saying that we will survive, right? As human species.
We will survive.
Dun, 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 dun,
Had you
dun.
by my side, I should have changed this blank. I should have laid down.
I have to speak about Gorath for a moment. Gorath, the celestial body, he shall be called, or it shall be called, reappears in Godzilla Final Wars. Yeah.
Why?
Because
They're like, it came back.
No, the
Someone
Zillions.
put some thrusters on it.
The Zillions who were in Astro Monster come back for Final Wars.
For revenge.
Well, they come back and they trick us. They say that they come to
remember the plot of Final Wars.
I don't. I was looking up stuff on. I was looking up stuff on Gorath. And anyway, so they say that Gorath is this celestial body coming towards the Earth, and the Zillions have come to save us from that. It turns out that Gorath is housing Monster X, and that's how they're using Gorath to as a front to transport Monster X to the Earth. But yeah, weirdly enough, Gorath is going to make a reappearance. Megumi will not, however.
Gorath is the name of the band. Monster X is the name of the album.
Do it.
Monster X. Which will probably be the single song off of it, too. Like
Monster X.
It'll be the radio
Joe's
single.
been dabbling. Have you not?
I have been dabbling, yes. Yes, I have, in fact, been dabbling.
And we may have something
every time.
Going on. Joe, you're working full-time, however. You're doing 3 podcasts.
Oh, I am just in a situation where I want to do so many creative things.
Yeah. Good.
And I do not have the time.
Yeah, well, welcome to...
Yeah. Kill me. Just kill me.
I was surprised you did when you were in college and had the homework of college and worked part-time and did the 3 podcasts.
There were certainly moments where I didn't have time.
Okay.
And I probably complained about not having time then.
I never knew. At the time, I was working the same jobs I am now, and I was like, how does Joe have time to do this?
Somehow Joe doesn't have a social life outside of doing podcasts with friends. Yeah. Those are the only times I see my friends. Sometimes I spend some time with family. Most of the time I don't. So I come from work to...
Benefits of being an introvert, man. Just
writing. I'm not an introvert, Drew. This is horrible.
You're a creative person, but you're not an introvert. And yet you write.
I do write. I hate writing.
Oh, God. Okay, see, that makes sense.
I force myself to write.
That makes sense, okay.
I hate it. I don't know any writer who doesn't hate it.
Stephen King writes 7 pages a day. I don't
Stephen King's
think
a freak.
Hates it. Yes, he is.
I think he actually said he writes like 10,000 words. It's something sick.
It's like 7 pages. That's what I've heard.
It's a lot.
Every single day. That's the reason he's able to just pump out books.
I write screenplays, which are like way less words. A good day is 5 pages on these 2-hour spurts.
So as we fade out here, the movie is over. It was not good. I don't know why I thought it was good. Disregard all of my comments at the beginning. Mysterians is better, and Mysterians is still not great. But like for listeners of this podcast, if you have sought out a podcast called the Godzilla Podcast, you're going to be interested in the Mysterians. Gorath, I don't think was made for anyone. Okay, U.S. I forgot to.
Wasn't made for a single person.
No.
Some guy had to pitch, okay, now the Earth...
It's going to move.
Okay.
Do you mean that...
They're going to put rocket thrusters on the bottom of the Earth, and it's going to move.
The executives at Toho or the person that's taking the pitch. So you're meaning this metaphorically. Like we're going to move the Earth? No. We're literally... The Earth will be thrust through space.
Guess I have a great idea.
How? With big rocket boosters. Wait, what do you mean?
All right, so we open... on some hot chicks.
Taking their clothes
They're taking off their tops. They're about to go skinny dip in one, and then suddenly rocket blasts off.
The ultimate cock block.
And the chick goes, hey, that's my daddy up there. And then cut to the guys in the rocket going towards Saturn. And then suddenly they get a thing on their radar, and they they fly into the star called Gorath. It's so dumb. Oh, man, it's so dumb.
I bet they were sold on the name Gorath.
I'm sold on the name Gorath.
That's what the movie is
sold on. This movie's getting... There's some awesome monster named Gorath.
Don't watch it. Acting's competent. Writing's bad.
No.
Special effects pretty good for the 60s.
If you're a big enough fan of these things, sure, go watch it.
But like, dude, the distribution is so poor. You have to go
get it off of a rip-off site. Yes.
Yeah. And or, I mean, if you want a physical copy, rip-off site, never been released in Region 1 in the United States. I hear that you can change your region settings on iTunes to the Japanese, to Japan, and you can rent it in HD. Yep.
I don't know if you can even purchase it, but there you go.
That's interesting.
So-
Will it have English subtitles?
No, it wouldn't. I don't know why it would.
Maybe.
That would make this
There's a
film so
chance.
much worse. Joe, are you available next week? I don't know if
Yeah, baby.
I am too.
Available.
Do you want to finish our series?
Oh, Zone Fighter?
We're on the last disc.
Probably.
Let's finish it.
Thank you very much to our Patreon donors. You
you're
can go
the
to
best.
GodzillaPodcast.com.
You have put up with several breaks we've taken.
I have given them their stickers, though. If you didn't get your
Yeah.
stickers and you were supposed to get your stickers, please email me.
They're- to describe the stickers, Godzilla, and then Godzilla in kanji. It's like the back of Godzilla. Do you know which Godzilla did you use? Because there's so
not going to say so I don't get sued by Toho.
All right.
They are not for sale in any way. They are just little things we made to give out.
Yes.
Uh,
No legal loopholes there in any way.
so
That was a fan drawing, right? Fan art.
it is now.
Yes, it's fan art. Fan art. But yeah, it's a sticker that you'll get if
a
you're at a certain mark
Godzilla-esque
of Patreon
sticker.
donors. You guys are the best. You fund the podcast. Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for putting up with our breaks. We're back on the air, and we're going to be back to doing these twice a month.
That's right. Yes. that's
Zone
the
Fighter
idea.
should just be bonus stuff.
It's every
but
2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
Unless your schedule changes, which see, I
I-
guess.
I have my hands on my face because I'm in shame for not having sent out the Varon stuff. We're next time Zone Fighter, we will do another DVD giveaway, and that
Anthony
will be.
Catton has had his stuff though.
Oh my gosh,
Months.
That guy waited forever.
Months. And I guess he watched it immediately. The DVD
Good.
he won.
We haven't even seen War of Gargantuans yet.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you couldn't get it signed in time. I couldn't because you'd had the family thing. And that's the day I
he's
was
a
gonna bring
Patreon
it.
donor. He'll win another DVD
Oh,
somewhere along the line, and he will get it sooner than he got that one. We will ship it off immediately. But last time on our last podcast, several weeks ago, I think more than a month ago, 2 people on our Patreon donors won the English and the Japanese version of Varon. Have not sent that off. Joe and I are going to sign it and send it off.
once we find it.
Yeah, we are accumulating many Sumo Gorilla DVDs, none of which are labeled, none of which we have written labels on. And so it's somewhere. It's somewhere.
Drew apparently isn't a put it back in the case after he's done with it kind of guy.
Hey, most
we're dealing
DVDs
with
or
that.
Blu-rays are labeled.
So there's
These
two
are blank
DVDs somewhere.
I have to wade through.
One of them
This is
has
like-
Varon in it.
Joe, this is a nightmare, like a living nightmare. I have to wade through piles of burnt Japanese science fiction films from the 60s and 70s to find the one.
Have fun
To
with
find
that.
Varon, and I will. I'll label them along the way.
That's
Save myself
probably
the
a good
trouble.
look. There's a Sharpie right here,
There
Drew.
is-
It's ready
I
for
got
you.
the Sharpie out so we could sign those, send them off. I will find
No
those.
DVD.
Yeah, I got I picked up the DVD case. Nothing in there. I mean, my stomach drops. Oh crap! It's somewhere. It's in one of my few cases because I don't actually keep cases to Blu-rays and DVDs usually.
Anthony Catton, you better put that thing in glass and freaking put it under lock and key because I looked at how much that DVD costs here in the States.
I got it like more than a year ago.
It's rare, dude. It is like $145 right now.
Joe, I think it's as rare
It
as
is sick.
I think it's as rare as your Godzilla Raids Again DVD at this point.
Oh, is that really?
What was I looking at? I have a Blu-ray or a DVD recently that I was looking at that I just happen to own. It's this is we're fading out here. You can leave, but keep listening to us for a minute here.
It's fine.
Joe, you need to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. I play it all the time.
I'm not going to put a game on my phone.
It's the only phone
can't.
game I've ever played, and I play it nonstop. But Joe, what I'm saying is, among the DVDs and
Stop
Blu-rays,
playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Like 3 years ago, Drew.
it's Yu-Gi-Oh! Light. It's
I
wonderful.
grew up. Okay.
To everyone still listening, direct message me on Twitter or tweet me with your friend codes. Play Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. It's consumed my entire life. Joe,
I don't want another thing to consume my life, Drew.
Okay, so I'll find
play
someone,
enough video
I'll find
games.
someone who tweets at us
tweets.
and listens to those
There's a
who
lot.
tweet.
There's a lot of
But those who listen and
I
tweet.
tweet a lot.
This Yu-Gi-Oh! Game, though, however, that I sought out and purchased 4 or 5 years ago, it's the final, full card game of Yu-Gi-Oh! On the DS. I got it for maybe $15-20 used, Dude, it's worth over $100 at this point.
Jeez.
Just because they haven't released like a physical or a new version of like a playable Yu-Gi-Oh card game that's digital, like a video game.
Man.
Do you have any rare, just as we're outroing, and you can leave whenever?
Unless Godzilla Raids, again, is way more rare than I think it is.
Yeah, I think it is, man. That thing's
Oof.
not easy to come... Because like the distribution has expired on stuff like that. It's no longer... I can picture the distribution company. It's like a little smiling bubble. But yeah,
I guess there's a Final Fantasy game that's really hard to get a hold of that one of our listeners like really wanted to win.
It's just stuff that's like digital media that hasn't been distributed and is suddenly worth, it's actually worth money. If you own these DVDs, these Blu-rays, these video games, you bought them for like what seems like a pittance, and then all of a sudden it's worth more than $100. You're just like, I want to hold on to this because I like the thing.
I'm gonna put,
but man, like it's worth some money.
I just had a moment where I burped a little bit.
Okay,
Drew.
Not necessary to tell us.
I have something to tell everybody.
Yeah, this
there
is probably
are
our
Slim
final comment.
Jims that are Tabasco flavored. Do not get them.
That sounds horrible.
They are horrible. It tastes exactly what it sounds like. It's a Slim Jim covered in Tabasco. And believe me, when you just get a little bit of, just a little bit of air in the stomach and you got to release it, it is not good. It is not a good feeling.
Just the mention of that.
Slim Jim in Tabasco. My friend handed this to me.
It just sounds like pure heartburn.
It feels a little bit like heartburn, Drew. It feels like the esophagus lining is like just dying right now.
Was it Craig?
It was Craig.
How could I guess that?
Because he's 400 pounds? Is that what you're saying? What? What do you got? Something against fat people,
food.
Drew?
Nah.
You fat shaming right now.
Sure. We just lost all of our fat listeners. Now I love you guys.
I'm a fat listener. I'm here still.
Thanks for listening. We're going to do a DVD giveaway for Patreon donors next time.
Yes.
Probably next time I will have news, and it's going to be Zone Fighter will be our next one.
I think we're going to be giving away are we giving away Gorath?
Yeah, sure.
You feel bad because it's crappy?
Yeah, exactly. I really do. But, however, it has the English version as well, so you're getting 2 movies.
Yeah. So if you want Gorath, unless you've already done an iTunes review in one... you are still eligible.
Is this not for Patreon donors?
Oh, yeah.
We do DVD giveaways for Patreon.
That's right, we do.
We'll have a figure giveaway for our iTunes reviewers in the future. We've gotten at least one more of those we need to read. Thanks, guys. You're the best. Keep listening. Zone Fighter, we're going to record next week. After that, I believe it's Dagara.
I forgot it wasn't the iTunes one.
Dude, I don't know anything.
Do you want to do one for...
It's going to be a figure. I've actually found a figure that's low enough price.
Oh, iTunes is the figure and Patreon's the movie.
They monthly they get a DVD or Blu-ray. Yep.
Okay.
We're going through our back.
Thank you for reminding me of the page I set up.
You're good, man. It's only been 9 weeks since we recorded one of these.
I guess.
All right, we're going to be back with Zone Fighter, the final edition, next week. We're going to finish that up, and if you want us to do more TV series, we're going to do more in-depth into that for our finale, I guess. At least I will. I'll look up
Support
some
the
stuff.
Patreon.
Yeah.
GodzillaPodcast.com.
And Godzilla Island would be our next TV series if we hit a goal.
You can also support the show by going through the Amazon link on there, and whatever you buy through that will give us a small kickback. You can check out our other shows on the network.
Joe's other shows?
Oh, yeah, they're my other shows. Sorry, guys. Drew does have a show in the works that's
it's
someday will come out. Sunday?
Someday.
Someday. Got it. Nude Clan is our video game podcast. It is rude. It is crude. It is hilarious. So please check out.
I recommend.
Nude
I
Clan.
listen to. Because I don't play a lot of video games anymore. That's why I so highly recommend Duel Links, Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I don't play video games. But I listen on Nude Clan whenever you guys do a video game movie.
We
review.
got Tomb Raider, Lara Croft Tomb Raider.
You did the first one
coming out next week.
Yes. Is that your first one you've done since Wing Commander?
Yes.
Okay, because I listened to Wing Commander, loved it. Sounded like an awful film.
It's almost as bad as Gorath.
I'm glad I'm never going to watch it, but I'm glad you guys did and made a hilarious podcast about it.
Appreciate that. Tomb Raider is
I love
next,
Freddie Prinze
and
Jr.
I love Angelina Jolie from back then. So
yeah. I find the Tomb Raider films, both of them, palatable. Not too bad.
I haven't seen it since they came out, and I liked them then, but we'll see.
You're going to find out if it holds up?
I went through some film snobs, some phases, so hopefully I can enjoy my experience with Tomb Raider next time. Alicia Vikander, I saw the new Tomb Raider trailer.
Oh, the one with the
Alicia
new
Vikander
actress?
is playing Tomb Raider. I fell in love with her when I watched the Keira Knightley Anna Karenina. She plays. She's gorgeous.
Yeah, Keira Knightley is.
She's gorgeous. Well, Keira Knightley is, and Alicia Vikander is who I'm talking about right now.
And she's going to be the new Lara Croft.
She's going to be the new Lara Croft.
I think she looks a ton like Lara Croft. So
she looks a lot like the new. I hope that the
story
Lara
is good,
and probably won't be.
At least make the
reason we do those video games based on movies because they're all horrible.
Yeah.
So if we get a good one, we're not going to be able to know what to do with ourselves because the whole point is that we're just making fun of it the whole time.
At my work, I always think of you guys when I walk past this like DVD bargain rack that I see all the time, and it says, "Okay, follow me here, Mortal Kombat Legacy, like 2 or 3," and I'm like, how many Mortal Kombat movies have they made? I've only seen the first 2.
Okay, those are the only ones that are theatrical release movies. So those are the only ones we're ever going to watch
that are eligible for your
for Legacy. I believe was a TV show or like a web show. It was a show. It wasn't. I don't think it was a movie.
Okay,
but there are. Yeah, we actually had that in our collection that we gave away. It was in there, but none of us watched it. There was an awesome fan made YouTube video that's what that became. Back in the day.
Yeah.
Which wasn't that long ago. But
well, I think we're wrapping up here because Joe's got to go, right?
I guess you're kicking me out, Drew. Anyway.
Gorath going to be given away next week.
Gorath. And
should we give it away on
You can tweet me at Joseph DeGaulier.
You can tweet me at Drew Daybell or at Gojira Jaeger.
Hey, I got a couple shows.
Jaeger.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I thought you were done, and then I cut you off. There's a couple shows I want you guys to check out. First off, we were mentioned a few times on Ghidorah, the Ghidorah episode for Jacob and Tab's,
and that's been
horror
quite a while ago, man.
Test pattern with Jacob and Tab,
dude. I love them.
So check out that show; it's really good.
I love them. I'm listening through all of their stuff.
I'm sure Jacob is going to love to hear that, by the way. Jacob's a friend of mine. We called him Baindrum forever. That's his avatar
his
name.
Handle, yeah.
We met him when we were doing the...
D-R-O-N.
We met him when we were doing the Final Fantasy 11 playthroughs for Ultimate Final Fantasy. We've just grown to know him over the last few years. He's a really cool guy.
I think he was inspired to do podcasting because of this.
Partially because of
push forward
UFF and stuff like that. I guess we were his first or second podcast.
Woo!
And then let's see. Although I'm sure he was influenced by plenty of other shows. It's fine.
Yeah.
Now there and then what's Giant Monster Messages?
Yes. I don't think we've plugged them at all here. Off the top of my head, I'm sorry guys. I love you, but I can't remember your first names. I'm blanking. But I love the analysis you guys do. It's a fun podcast. When you guys first started out, I wasn't like too hot on it just because I'm like, I don't know where it's going. But one of your last, and I love it now, Kronos, the episode you've done on that, it's hilarious. Some of the insights you've done on like Godzilla, because they do Godzilla films, they do giant monster films, ones beyond stuff like Godzilla and Toho, whatever. We stick to Japanese stuff. But man, they are insightful, entertaining. Check out Giant Monster Messages.
All right, guys. I think that's going to be it. See you next time.
See you next time for our Zone Fighter Final Edition. Keep it